His name was Robert. He had worked at the same factory for 22 years. He saved every dollar he could. Put it all in the bank, because that's what his father told him to do. That's what everyone said was safe. On the morning of October 29th, 1929, Robert walked to that bank like he did every week. But the doors didn't open. They never opened again. Robert lost everything in a single morning, not because he gambled, not because he was stupid. He did everything right. And somewhere, maybe 5 blocks away, maybe 5 miles, a man in a very different kind of suit was sitting at his desk, drinking coffee, watching the same news, and he was smiling. Not because he was evil, but because he had prepared for exactly this moment. And that gap between Robert at the locked door and the man drinking coffee, that gap is what this entire video is about. Here's something they don't teach you in school. Every single decade, like clockwork, the economy crashes. 1929, 1987, 2001, 2008, 2020. It has happened over and over within our lifetimes, within our parents' lifetimes, and every single time it crashes, the same thing happens afterward. Regular people lose jobs, families lose homes, small businesses close forever. We rebuild slowly, painfully. It takes years, but at the very top, it looks completely different. After 2008, the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression, the richest 1% of Americans captured 95 cents of every new dollar created in the recovery. 95 cents out of every dollar. After COVID crashed the market in March 2020, the fastest stock market collapse in history, global billionaires added more than $5 trillion to their wealth in less than 1 year. $5 trillion. While people were dying, while restaurants were shutting down, while nurses were wearing trash bags instead of protective gear. You have to ask yourself, how is that possible? How does the same disaster that destroys one person's life build another person's empire? That's what I want to show you today. Not just the what, the how, and the why it keeps happening to us. Imagine you own a bakery. It took you 7 years to build it. You love it, it's profitable, it's yours. Then a recession hits, customers stop coming in, your rent is still due, your suppliers still want payment, your savings run out in 3 months. You have no choice. You sell the bakery. For a fraction of what it's worth. Because you need to survive right now. The person who buys it from you, they didn't build anything. They just waited. They had cash saved, what wealthy investors quietly call dry powder. Money held back specifically for moments like this. Moments when desperate people sell beautiful things for almost nothing. That's the first piece of this. Buying what others are forced to sell. But there's something even colder underneath that. When millions of people lose their jobs in a recession, something else happens. Wages fall. Workers are so scared, so desperate to keep any income, that they accept less. Worse conditions. Longer hours. Fewer protections. Employers know this. They've always known this. A crashed economy is a buyer's market, not just for buildings and businesses, but for human beings. And then there's the third piece, the one that makes people genuinely angry when they understand it. Every time there's a major crash, governments step in. They cut interest rates to almost zero. They pump cheap money into the financial system. They do this to stop the collapse, and honestly, sometimes it works. But cheap money flows upward. When you can borrow at 1% interest, you can buy assets, stocks, real estate, entire companies, and the math just works. You borrow cheaply, you buy assets that rise in value, and you walk away richer than you started. Who has the credit rating, the collateral, and the relationships to borrow those kinds of amounts at those kinds of rates? Not Robert outside the locked bank. I want to take you to a specific Monday morning, September 15th, 2008. It's Wham and Lehman Brothers, 158 years old, one of the most powerful banks on earth, files for bankruptcy. By morning, 25,000 employees show up to work and are told, "Don't come in. It's over." There are photos from that day. Men and women in business clothes, carrying cardboard boxes out of skyscrapers. Some of them are crying. Some just look empty, like they can't process what happened. In the weeks that follow, the financial system nearly stops breathing. Banks won't lend to each other. Credit freezes. The government announces a $700 billion rescue fund, taxpayer money, to save the same institutions that caused the disaster. Not the family that lost their home. Not the worker who lost their pension. The banks. By the end of 2009, 3.8 million Americans had lost their homes to foreclosure. Their houses, their real physical homes, went onto the market at prices nobody had ever seen. Private equity firms bought them. By the thousands. Tens of thousands. Houses where children grew up. Houses with crayon marks on door frames measuring how tall kids had grown. Sold at auction for pennies on the dollar. Those same houses are now being rented back to families, to young people who will never be able to afford to buy, at rates that just keep climbing. The crash didn't destroy those homes. It just changed who owned them. And across the Atlantic, across the Pacific, the same story was playing out in different languages, different currencies. The same basic plot. Here's the part that I think about late at night. The wealth gap we see today, the one that fills op-eds, that politicians argue about, that your friends argue about at dinner, most of it wasn't built during good times. It was built during the crashes. The 2020 pandemic crash is the most obvious example we've ever seen in real time. Restaurants closed. Airlines bled out. Millions of small businesses, things people had spent their entire adult lives building, just ceased to exist. At the same moment, 5 technology companies added $3 trillion in combined market value. While people lost everything they'd made, those companies, with their cash reserves, their digital infrastructure, their ability to operate from anywhere, absorbed the chaos and came out enormous. It wasn't that they were smarter. It's that the system rewards scale in a crisis. And scale takes money to build. Money most of us don't have. And now, in 2024, 2025, we're seeing it all set up again. Rents that won't come down. Markets at all-time highs while people struggle with grocery bills. A housing market that locked young people out entirely. Every one of those things has roots in how wealth moved during the last crisis. And the next crisis? The dry powder is already sitting there, waiting. I'm not going to tell you this is simple to fix. It isn't. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that billionaires are monsters for doing this. Most of them are just playing by the rules of a game they didn't design. A game that, if you're honest, most of us would play the same way if we were in their position. But here's what I do think matters. Understanding it. Because when you understand that crashes transfer wealth, they don't destroy it, you start to look at economic news differently. You start to understand why some people talk about recessions with a kind of quiet calm that used to make you furious. They're not calm because they don't care about people suffering. They're calm because they've been through enough of these to know exactly what's coming after the fear. The question isn't, how do I get rich from a crash? That's the wrong question, and for most people, it's the impossible one. The real question is, how do I stop being the person at the locked door? That starts with a savings buffer when times are good. It starts with understanding that assets, things that go up in value, matter more than income alone. It starts with refusing to panic when everyone around you is panicking. Because panic is exactly what someone else is waiting for. It's not a perfect answer. The system is deeply unequal, and some of that is beyond any individual's control. But Robert deserved to understand why that door was locked. And so do you.